So in this video, I want to go ahead and sort of follow up with some other information that's out there about the checklist function inside of the lessons area of Sakai. Now, what you see here is I'm logged into Sakai. This is Sakai 12.2, although the lessons function is available in many different versions of Sakai for several years now. And the checklist feature is newer and has been sort of enhanced quite a bit over the last little bit. But what I want to show you here is I'm logged into a course up here as the instructor, and I've got this lesson layout here on this lessons page. I've got some text content, some other links and everything else, and on this page then I've also got several different things I want students to do, some of which are actually marked as required. And what I've done is I've gone through and I've just simply added a checklist function at the very bottom. This checklist function is just like any of the other objects inside of a lesson area that's text or URL or YouTube or video that's similar. You can put it in any kind of sequence you want. But what I'd like to do now is I want to go ahead and show you how to link specific items in the checklist so that those items are checked off as the students complete them. So for example, we've got several things that are on this page, like going through and going to this website, opening this file that's in the resources area, opening this PDF file that's also in the resources, opening this required subpage. There's certain things that I want the students to do. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through and I'm going to set a couple of these to be required because that's how the automatic mark feature of the checklist item sort of works. So I'm going to pause the video for a second and I'm just going to come back and we're going to look at some of these things to see which ones are required, and then we'll go on with the linking process. So just hold on a second. So I also want to include a little bit here that talks about how to actually set certain items as required. Not everything on a lesson page can be set as required, but with some good strategic sort of planning and some good implementation along the lesson page, you can figure out which items you want to set as required and set certain different thresholds along with sort of release, triggered release and that sort of thing. This particular item here is a web link or a content link, and if I select the edit item over here, then I can require that item. Now when I select the update item, it's going to refresh the page, and you're going to see that that page now indicates that that particular item for viewers, for students is required. I can do the same thing here with this file that's actually located in the resources of the course. So I'm going to require the item and then click the update in the item there. I'm going to do the same thing for several of these things that are on here. Require the item, and you can also do this with subpages. You can see here that the subpage here, while there's not really any content on it, it is a page that students go to, and it has already got a check mark next to it, and that's basically indicating that for me, the logged in user, I have already visited that page. Down here, this is a resources folder listing, which is something that cannot be set as required, although you, and this is specific to a folder, and while you can't do a whole folder by way of requirement, you can actually go through and set an item in the folder as required. This is an assignment link, so we'll go ahead and make that required as well. I know there's a lot of times when you want students to specifically make sure they do a particular thing before they go on, or a particular set of things before they go on, and so you could use these in sort of a way that has several things that are required, but not necessarily everything has to be required. This is just sort of for demonstration purposes. Here we got two different discussion forum links. This one goes to the forum where you can have multiple topics that are available to students, such as if you're asking students to engage in 3 or 4 of the topics under a single forum. This is actually a topic here. I'm just going to set the topic as a requirement. So we're going to require the students submit a posting of this topic. I will update that. And every time we're doing this, it's just simply telling Sakai, make sure that these items are set as required. This is embedded forum postings, the most recent ones. That's not something we can actually set as required because that's just a view of an item. Down here, this is a question feature, and it's already set to be required. So you can see that the required item is there. We'll scroll down here a little bit further. There's a student comment area, and we can require that item. And then we can also, because we have student pages inside of Sakai, we can also set those to be required. And really, like I said, this is just for demonstration purposes to show you the different things that you can do with the checklist feature in terms of having things checked off. automatically. Now, obviously, this is not checking for quality of student work or engagement. It's just simply helping students self-monitor their progress through content as you lay it out. We got the student pages there, and then there's this Sugi linked YouTube video that's connected to the gradebook. So it's essentially a video that comes from YouTube that tracks the percentage of the video that students watch, and then records that percentage in the gradebook. So we'll just go over here and require that the students use that item. Okay, I think that's enough required items on a page. And so what we're going to do now is I've already created the checklist here. And what I've tried to do too, and I could name the checklist items however I want to, but I've tried to provide sort of this verb that asks students, did you do this? Did you watch? Did you visit? Did you open? Did you submit? Did you post? Those sorts of things, and then connect the language that's used, hopefully, throughout the lesson for continuity and consistency and congruency, so that students aren't lost with what was that thing that I did? Okay, so now the next thing that I need to do is I need to basically tell Sakai, tell the lessons area, which of these items are which on the page. And we can do that using the edit function that's over here. Now it's important to understand that because of the way this works, I have to be able to tell, the checklist which of those items is which by way of something logical. And so we can do that because Sakai recognizes that any of the items that are marked as required on the page can be linked, and you can see that here. Now these links basically are telling me these items could be linked because it recognizes there are that many items over there. And so I've got to watch the embedded YouTube video that's on there, and just kind of by point of reference, because you can have a mixture of items that students can check off themselves and or items that get automatically checked off. I've got this video here, and it's just simply embedded, an embedded video from YouTube, but there isn't an option here to set this item as required. And so I can set something that has to do with prerequisite, but I can't set the actual item as a required item. And because of that, I really just simply want to say, you know what, I'm going to leave the video there. I'm not going to automate that checklist thing. I'm going to leave that for the students to watch. And so what I'll do then is we'll just know that for the purpose of this video, this item here is whether or not the student chose to watch this. And that's not going to be automatically checked off. That's going to be something that the student gets to check off. So let's go back down here and we'll edit this area. And that first one then I really want to link is this visit the Sakai project website. So if I select the link here and we say this, because that's what that is, website link located in resources, then we'll go ahead and select that and hit submit. When we do that, we're going to notice that there's another link that shows up here that allows us to decouple or unlink that particular item. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and do the linking for all of these. So there's the file and resources, and we'll go ahead and update that. And I'll work through these, and I'll pause the video and do that, and then I'll come back and show you where we are from there. All right, so I've got all those items linked, and so we'll just scroll down here, and to save those settings, we'll just hit save. And so remember, this is us in our view with regard to how things look for the instructor. I'm going to flip over to the student view now in the other browser, and just simply reload the page. So those settings are sort of shown here. So you can see that there's several items here that are obviously set as required. You've got different items that are on here, and then down at the very bottom here, you can see that because I've already in the past, as part of just simply working with this, for this particular student that's logged in, you can see that there are 2 items that are already checked because it's aware that those things are done. Now I also want you to know that if you happen to not give your checklist items a real good consistent sort of naming, you know, which item is which on the page, then also notice that when the student hovers over these, and I've kind of used really long names here, but it tells the student this item is linked with the completed item website link located in resources. And so students can know which item that is. Now, if I'm the student and I've said, you know what, I watched that little video, so, you know, I watched that video and I just want to, you know, self-monitor and know I did that thing, then down here I can actually go ahead and check that item off, and so it says that that item is successful. But let's say the student says, you know, I'm going to be real smart about this, and because I know that the teacher has access to this list, I'm just going to check this item off. Well, if you notice, I'm trying to click on this, and it doesn't let me click it because that item is linked to having done that. And so in this case, it's the review the file located in resources. So if I, as a student, scroll up here, and that happens to be this one, so if I click on this, It opens that file in resources, and then when I come back to where I was inside that course, and I'm gonna have to let's see here. Uh, think I have to reload the page as if I was coming back to the page, then you can see then that it knows that I've actually been to that file in resources. Now if I scroll down here, it's already checked that item off. And so I can do the same thing with any of these other items here. I can go through and I could go to that PDF that's there, and it downloads and it shows me the PDF. I can go over here to the required subpage. I don't think there's anything actually on it, but we could click on next, and that should actually take me back to the page originally. So you can see the subpage has been checked off. There's an assignment link, so as the student here, then I can go through and I can do my assignment, type up my work, go through and submit it. We'll go ahead and submit that. And then it should take me back to the lesson after I'm done with after the confirmation page. So we can go back over here to the lessons, and then you're going to see that that item is checked. And so we can also do that for the test and quizzes and other things. And as we scroll down here, you're going to see those items get checked off automatically. It's pretty nice. If I go through and I do something out of sequence, so I've got this question feature here. I want to skip that, so I'm going to go ahead and because I don't have any prerequisites set up on this page, and so I'm going to go ahead and just add my comment here. So this is my student comment, and just hit save, and then it reloads the page, and we scroll down here, and you can see there's my student page or student comment content. And if I scroll down further, it shows me, yep, that post to the student comment has been done. So we could go down here, and there's this is that link that goes to a video, except this video hasn't been configured yet. So let's check and see if that actually worked the way we thought it was. I clicked the link. Let's see if that actually checked that off. Yes, it did. Now that's my problem. I didn't actually configure the video, but it did check it off. Now, what does this look like for the instructor? So let's go back here and just simply look at that instructor view, just to kind of make sure that we understand. This is a great feedback feature that provides information to instructors and to the students. Students for self-monitoring, but also the instructor to see where are the students in the unit content as they sort of work through stuff. And so as the instructor then, I can come over here and I can use this progress sort of a button here to check the status of these things, and it lets me know which student has completed which thing. And these are all numbered like this, but then I can just use the key that's up here in the top to tell which item is which. So that's just a little bit about the checklist feature and how you can provide a mechanism for auto mark of things completed, however you decide to use the checklist feature inside Sakai's lessons.